Are you about to retire and worried about the IRS shrinking your hard-earned retirement with taxes? Well, stay tuned to find out how to keep more of your money. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ask Ralph show where we tackle your financial questions through the lens of our Christian faith. I'm your host Ralph and I'm excited to dive into another important topic with you today. You know, a lot of folks reach out with questions about retirement planning, how much to save, where to invest, and all the good stuff. But one area that often causes confusion and frankly a little bit of anxiety is figuring out the tax implications when it's time to actually withdraw those hard-earned savings. And that, my friends, is exactly what we're going to unpack today. So if you've ever wondered how to keep Uncle Sam's hands off as much of your retirement money as possible, you definitely want to stick around. Before we jump into today's listener question, let's take a quick look back at yesterday's episode. We tackled the rather serious issue of tax fraud and how to steer clear of any practices that might land you in hot water with the IRS. Remember, honesty and integrity are paramount, not just in our financial dealings, but in all aspects of our lives as Christians. You can check out our website at AskRalphPodcast.com for all of our back episodes. Speaking of questions, we got a really important one from a listener named Calvin. Comes to us from Destin, Florida. Calvin writes this: Dear Ralph, I'm getting ready to retire soon, and I'm excited to finally enjoy the fruits of my labor. But I'm also a bit overwhelmed by the thoughts of taxes on my retirement withdrawals. Is there any way to minimize the tax hit? Any advice you could offer will be greatly appreciated. I hate to pay on all I've earned and let grow and just pay it in tax. Surely there has to be some way to eliminate or reduce the tax. Well, Calvin, you've come to the right place. Let's dive into some strategies that can help you make more of your hard-earned money and keep more of it in your pocket. Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you're joining us today for another edition of the Ask Ralph show. This is a verse from Ecclesiastes that I think applies here. And it comes to us from Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 26, and it says this: To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. As we seek God's wisdom in managing our finances, including our taxes on our retirement savings, He will guide us if we only ask Him. Now let's return to Calvin's question about minimizing taxes on retirement account withdrawals. It's a common concern, and for good reason. After all, you've worked hard, saving diligently. You paid your fair share of taxes along the way. The last thing you want is for the tax man to take a big chunk of your retirement nest egg. So let's explore some proven strategies that can help you keep more of your money working for you. All right, Calvin, here are some key tactics to consider when it comes to minimizing taxes on your 401k and all other retirement account withdrawals. Let's start with strategy number 1, and that's understand your tax bracket. This might seem obvious, Calvin, but you'd be surprised how many people overlook this crucial step. Before you withdraw a single dime from your retirement accounts, take the time to understand your current and your projected tax bracket. So you may ask, why is this so important, Ralph? Well, your tax bracket determines the percentage of your income that you'll actually owe in taxes. By knowing your bracket, you can strategically time your withdrawals to potentially reduce your overall tax liability. So for example, if you anticipate being in a lower tax bracket during retirement, it might make sense to withdraw more money in those years to take advantage of the lower tax rates. So here's my first actionable step. Sit down with a qualified tax advisor or use reputable online tax calculators to determine your current and your projected tax brackets. I highly recommend meeting with somebody like myself to put together a tax plan for your retirement. If you wish to meet with me, no matter where you live, we can do it via Zoom. You can schedule that right on our website. It's at AskRalphPodcast.com/store. Let's move on to our next strategy you may want to consider, Calvin. And that's strategy number 2. Consider Roth Conversions. Now, Calvin, you may not be familiar with Roth IRAs, but have you considered a Roth conversion? Here's a deal. Traditional 401ks and traditional IRAs are funded with pre-tax dollars. That means you get a tax break up front, but you pay taxes on the money when you withdraw it in retirement. Roth accounts, on the other hand, are funded with after-tax dollars. While you don't get an upfront tax deduction, the beauty of a Roth is that your money grows tax-free, and you don't owe any taxes on qualified withdrawals once you reach retirement. So Calvin, you might ask, how does a Roth conversion work? Calvin, you can actually convert funds from your traditional 401k or IRA into a Roth IRA. Now keep in mind, you'll have to pay taxes on the amount you convert in the year of the conversion. However, if you're in a lower tax bracket now, for example, than you anticipate being in retirement, it might be worth considering. So here's another actionable step. Explore the pros and cons of Roth conversions with a financial advisor to see if it aligns with your overall retirement plan. As I said, you can certainly schedule a Zoom meeting with me and we can discuss your particular situation. Well, Calvin, let's move on to another powerful strategy. And that's strategy number 3. Explore tax-advantaged withdrawal options. Calvin, did you know that there are certain ways to withdraw money from your retirement accounts that could potentially reduce your tax burden? One such option is called a 72T distribution, also known as a substantially equal periodic payment, or a SEPP. This strategy allows you to take penalty-free withdrawals from your retirement accounts before age 59 and a half, which can be beneficial if you need to access your funds early. There are some real cons to doing this, but it's an option. Perhaps we'll plan a future show on this type of distribution plan, but you definitely want to talk to somebody before you do it. Another option for you to consider, Calvin, is charitable giving. If you're charitably inclined, you can make direct contributions from your IRA to qualified charities without having to pay taxes on those distributions. It's really a win-win. You get to support causes you care about while also potentially lowering your tax bill. I personally have many clients who are using this method each year, especially those who are unable to itemize because of the substantial increase in the standard deduction over the past few years. So Calvin, here's another actionable step. Research and discuss the eligibility requirements and potential benefits of a 72T distribution, and also look at charitable giving with a financial professional. Now, Calvin, before we move on to our final strategy, I want to emphasize that these are just a few examples, and the best approach for you will depend on your unique circumstances. It's crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor and tax professional to develop a personalized plan that aligns with your goals and your risk tolerance. Remember, this is what I do for a living, so I and others have the knowledge and skills to assist you. Calvin, we also don't want to forget state taxes. While we've been focusing primarily on federal taxes, it's equally important to consider your state tax situation. I see you live in Florida, which doesn't have a state income tax, so that won't affect you. But some states you see are more tax-friendly than others, especially when it comes to retirement income. If you live in a state with high income taxes like California or New York, it might make sense to actually explore relocating to a more tax-friendly state during retirement. Now, I know this isn't a decision to be taken lightly, but it's definitely something to factor into your overall retirement planning. In my view, Calvin, you've already landed in Florida, which is really a great state for retirees. So my final actionable step, research the tax laws in your current state and compare them to states that are known for their favorable tax treatment of retirees. Again, this is the time to enlist the services of someone like myself, and let's plan to not only look at a federal tax plan, but also a state tax plan. So there you have it, Calvin. 4 powerful strategies to help you minimize taxes on your retirement account withdrawals. Remember, careful planning and seeking expert advice are key to keeping more of your hard-earned money working for you. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Ask Ralph Show. I hope you found today's discussion on minimizing taxes on retirement account withdrawals helpful. Remember this, taking control of your finances and planning for the future is not just a smart financial move, it's also a reflection of our faith and our responsibility to be good stewards of the blessings God has given us. Now, before we go, I want to remind you about tomorrow's episode. We're going to be diving into the often overlooked but critically important topic of 401k beneficiary rules. We're going to explore the ins and outs of designated beneficiaries, understanding the different types of beneficiaries, and ensuring that your hard-earned savings end up in the right hands. And as always, if you have a question you'd like to have answered on the show, just like Calvin, don't hesitate to reach out. You can visit our website at AskRalphPodcast.com or send an email directly to me at ralph@AskRalph.com. We love hearing from our listeners, and your questions help shape the show. And hey, while you're on our website, be sure to join our email list. As a special thank you, you'll receive a free copy of my book, Mastering Your Finances, which is packed with even more tips and strategies to help you achieve financial freedom. That's right, a $10 value, absolutely free. So before you go, I want to remind you of this. Stay financially savvy, and God bless you.
Thank you for joining us on the Ask Ralph podcast. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. And remember, financial issues don't have to be complicated. Just ask Ralph. The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media, Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.